Okay, so let's do a top speed test. Acceleration only. Let's not pedal. Have a horn. There is a heavy wind today, so 50 km/h gusts, and the bike is handling no problem. It's saying the speed here is 45 km/h. I don't think that's realistic. I think it's more like 40 km/h. So it's definitely off by a small bit, but keep in mind, you can't hear it on camera, but the wind is absolutely nuts right now. You do have indicators, left, right indicators, and actually the seat post as well on this has a small bit of suspension, so you have a nice bit of cushion in there. And one good thing I like about this as well is actually the height of the bike itself. You can see cruise control there automatically kicks in, so I'm going to need to disable that because I'll say it again, I hate cruise control. But yeah, the brakes are very good. Although the brakes actually, they could have been bled a little bit better because there's a tiny bit of air in the one on the left in particular. So I'll need to adjust that. Just something just to keep an eye out on. Of course, the good thing about this bike as well is because it's a step-through version, it is indeed actually foldable as well. So you have that compactability there. I've never actually reviewed anything from this company, but it's actually not too bad. Nice and high off the ground, plenty of clearance, easy to get on, easy to get off. So if you're quite small in height, of course a bike like this is absolutely ideal. So hill climbing, decent. Torque, okay. Braking, fantastic because they're hydraulic. Ease of use, really good. Foldability, it's very lightweight, and it has a feature that I'll talk about in just a couple of minutes that I wish more e-scooters would have, because e-bikes are starting to really endorse this kind of feature. If you're looking for an off-road e-bike, I would suggest the Lankalesi X3000 Max that I reviewed a while ago, that has dual 1000 watt motors. That bike was absolutely nuts. I even done an off-road video with it, and so did my friend from eScoot, and I gotta say that was the best e-bike for off-roading. That actually, it's the only e-bike that I've ever had for off-roading that's suitable. Huge shout out to Vitilan for sending me this U7 model, and I gotta say it has a few features that I actually really like and I would love to see on more e-bikes. The discs on this are absolutely huge, and I've never seen these before on any e-bikes or e-scooters that I've reviewed. They are 180mm. I think they're like 3mm in width, and the stopping power is actually very good on these, giving them really good ventilation as well. And along with the hydraulic brakes, that I've actually had these hydraulic brakes on my Lankalesi X3000 Max in the past, they are one of the best hydraulic brake systems you can get out there. One thing that has always bothered me about some e-bikes or e-scooters is that for some reason they make the handlebar width way too short, and on this it's actually bang on. It's not too wide, it's not too short, and because you're going a higher speed, which is like 40 kilometers an hour, which is what I got, even though the display was saying 45 kilometers on it, it was more around 40 kilometer max speed, to be honest. But there is like 50 km/h winds today, making it a bit difficult to do that test. But I think 40 km/h at these speeds with these handlebars are really good stability, and I have no complaints from that standpoint. Another few e-bikes that I actually have reviewed in the past unfortunately don't fold, and on this, because it is a step-through version, you can fold this in a matter of seconds. And of course the handlebars, just let me show you here, the handlebars of course as well actually collapse into themselves, and then after folding the bike, it's so compact you can actually store this in the corner of the room, even though you have those big huge 20-inch by 4-inch fat tires. It's actually a brilliant design, and it's one of the most compact e-bikes I've ever had on the channel. And not to mention as well is that this bike has actually height adjustable, so you can actually see how high that goes on camera. And of course the saddle is height adjustable, so if you're like over 6 foot tall, this bike Sorry, I can't stop laughing because it looks kind of funny. I'm actually 5'8", and these handlebars are just near to my chin. But whatever height you are, these will actually do the job. I'm sorry, it's so funny. I've actually never seen an e-bike that has that kind of extension. Let me just lower it because yeah, it'd definitely look kind of funny riding the e-bike at that height. But yeah, absolutely perfect for any height whatsoever. So the suspension system on this, it's okay. I mean, it's not the smoothest suspension I've ever had, and it does have a little bit of noise there. You can lock the suspension if you want, or you can have it where it travels up and down. It's okay, it's better than nothing. I mean, if you didn't have suspension on a bike like this, it would really probably give you a headache quite fast, to be honest. But it's a good system, it's decent, and of course you have the suspension on the seat post there, which does quite a good job. The back support rack on this supports up to 25 kilograms. You do get a front rack with this. I just took it off for the video, but the front rack can come on and off quite easily. So it's suitable for carrying basically something really heavy out the back. And of course you can use the front if you want. But let me tell you about the best feature about this e-bike. A very small minority of electric scooters have this. This has a complete removable battery. You simply turn the key, pop your saddle up in this direction. You take the battery out and then you can just charge it at home. The frame is actually very lightweight on this, even with the battery, and without the battery it's just a really good design, lightweight. I mean, I have no complaints at all. I really love removable batteries, and I hope, well, it seems to be going in that direction with a lot of e-bikes and a lot of electric scooters to have this removable battery feature, and I love it. It's a very good design. By the way, this model behind me here comes in a 16 amp hour or a 20 amp hour version. The 20 amp hour version is only like an extra 80 or 100 euros. So I would suggest going with that to get that bit more range. So let's just recap. Portability, fantastic. Foldability, handlebars collapse. Battery comes out. It has everything there to make it more compact. Quite a lightweight frame compared to others that I've viewed in the past, so no complaints from portability. Performance wise, even though it does have a 750 watt motor with a 1200 peak, to be honest, it's not the best for like really steep hills that are around 20 or 25 degrees in my opinion. I tried it on a hill here that was like 15 degrees and it did struggle a little bit. But I think, of course, I wasn't pedaling it, I was just testing it with the acceleration only. So if you are pedaling it for hills, you shouldn't really struggle. It's quite a good motor, it's decent, but it's definitely not an off-road e-bike. From a safety aspect, it has a front light and a rear light. The rear light is actually quite decent because it has the indicators integrated. The front light is a little bit poor. It does have a very sharp cut-off point, so I definitely suggest getting another additional light to mount onto those handlebars because there is space there to do that. Most electric scooters on e-bikes I found always have a front poor light, only bar maybe a few that I've reviewed. So just get an extra light for the front. The comfort standpoint is actually quite decent from suspension, and this brings us to the value for money. Well, to be honest, I think because you have those features, removable battery, foldability, decent speed, decent range, construction is actually quite good, very compact, quite happy with it, really good kickstand, foldable pedals as well, which is actually what I forgot to mention. The price point that it's at right now is actually bang on the money, to be honest. I think it's a fantastic e-bike and will suit anybody from beginners to people who do deliveries, anything like that at all. So I've no complaints at all with the e-bike. I just wish it had that bit more power, but we all wish they had that bit more power. Well, most of us do. So in the meantime, if you have enjoyed this review, please give it a like and I'll talk to you in the next video.